Well, howdy folks, Elcorex here, and welcome to Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 126. And today we're going to be talking about the Wolf Trap, the Draconius Combine 45-ton mech that is new to the Inner Sphere. It's a brand new design. And, well, we'll just talk about it. Well, I do have one. Let's just put it that way. The Wolf Trap, 45 tons, is a 690 moving mech. Pretty good. Has Indo-Steel armor, which means that it's 45 tons. Yeah, you're saving 2 tons. Okay, that's not a bad deal for the space. Typically, these things have a lot of space on them because it's a 45 tonner. Usually don't have a lot of weapons on them. Okay. Now it does have a XL engine. Alright, so we just cut the tonnage in half with that. It drops, there's 7.5 tons. So now we have a mech that has about 9.5 tons extra space on it for throwing all kinds of goodies on it. Alright, so you'd think this thing will have all kinds of good stuff on it. It has 10 heat sinks. Single heat sinks. If you're putting on XL engines, why not put doubles on it? I don't know. It's just par for the course, I think. If you're putting on high technology, you might as well put on heat sinks. And I've always talked about, I think heat sinks are the best thing since sliced bread because of what they can bring to a lot of mechs to keep them cool, not having to worry about any heat problems, okay? You know, we kind of beat that horse dead, but hey, let's just say it again. Should have double heat sinks, but it only has 10. Alright. Has 120 points of armor. It's not so bad. It's the same as the Wolfhound, because the Wolf Trap is named because it's supposed to be the counterpart to the Wolfhound. Wolfhound's 35 tons. Wolf Trap is 45 tons. Alright. One has 119 armor, the other one has 120. So that's par for the course. That's equal. You figure, okay, that's about the same. Plus, the Wolf Trap's going to have a little bit extra internal structure. Not that you want your internal structure being hit. It does have something to prevent body parts from being blown off. Maybe another hit, possibly. But typically, it's not that great a difference between 35 and 45 tons. Now, equipment. This thing has an LBX-10 autocannon in the right arm with 2 tons of ammo in the right torso with case prevent it from exploding and blowing up the rest of the mech. But, you know, as we talked about before, you got an XL engine and you have case. So, okay, what are you going to do with that? So, basically, you're taking 3 engine hits versus a total of 9 when you go completely 9 or 12, I guess. If you had one bay of ammo typically go up on one of these things, the mech's completely disintegrate anyway, so it's really not going to be salvaged. It has 2 medium lasers in the left torso, so it has a little bit in close stuff. It has in the center torso, kind of like a dragon, a LRM-10, and in the right torso, 1 ton of ammo. So, okay, this thing can go 12 turns. My experience is this thing's lucky if it lasts 5 or 6 turns. So, it's got plenty of ammo to go with it. Now, it was one of those things that like I said, the Draconians combined the House Karita designed these things to take on the Wolfhound. And after a little bit of tweaking everything, they finally come up with a design that they thought would work pretty good. You know, it's kind of, to me, it's kind of like a dragon. Because you think of a dragon has an AC-5, it's got an LRM-10. It's just kind of like, oh, let's make a dragon, but make it smaller and a little faster. Right? That's kind of like how I look at this thing. And they use XL engines to do it. It's an interesting concept, but, you know, it has some problems with it. Now, mainly the big problem I have, and I've talked about this before, typically I'm not a big fan of XL engines, but in the case if you got a mech that at least a minimum of 6'9", moving, yeah, I'd be considered tossing on some, maybe throw some XL engines on it. It's okay. Now, how would you use this thing? Well, the biggest thing about it is you got an LBX-10 with 2 tons of ammo. Typically, you're probably going to run 1 ton with cluster and 1 ton solid shot. So you could do 10 points of damage in one location, or you can shotgun them and you go on the 10 cluster chart and hit them with a whole bunch of 1-pointers. All right. Now, basically, I look at that kind of weapon system as that, all right, as you're closing in, you're probably hitting them with a solid shot, trying to knock off the armor, because typically this is going to be a fast mover for a medium, possibly a light lance commander type role, where they're able to move a little bit faster, get in and get out type thing, harassment. It might work. Let's say you got a lance of dragons and some, like say 2 wolf traps, 2 dragons, or something of that nature, where you got a little bit heavier mechs followed up by one of these. Now, when the armor has been stripped off and you're seeing these open slots, you know, the internal structures popping through, and you know that there's some tasty ammo exposed here and there, hit them with the cluster. Yeah, you're going to have a -1 because you got an easier chance of hitting because it's a shotgun. Not necessarily going to hit with all 10 of them, 1-pointers, but you know, you're going to have an opportunity to sneak something in. And then the LRM-10 can do the job too. So basically, you're looking at not a lot of heat with this thing. Now, if you fired all your weapons up close, even if you're shoot the weapons at close range and long range, because obviously you got the minimum range with the LRM-10, you're going to be looking for a secondary target. You're not going to heat up that much. You know, you can do that for a turn, and then you're going to have to shut something off. Typically, it's either your LRM or some medium lasers. So, however you decide to run that, that's the problem you have with only 10 single heat sinks. Now, if those were 10 doubles, I wouldn't worry about this build up at all. It's like I'd fire every damn weapon I could every single turn and not worry about heat. So one thing I would do with this thing right off the bat is just change out to double heat sinks. You know, that's something you can do in the field type of activity. Now, there is some interesting variants. There's the one that is called the Wolf Trap WFT-1, which does one thing. It swaps out a medium laser for a C3 slave unit. Now, if you don't know what C3 is, it's a wonderful little system where you got a master control computer on board one mech, takes up 5 tons, and it links up in a network all of your other mechs. So you just take the range of the shortest range weapon. So if you got a wolf trap that runs up real close with the slaves on board, and he's with, say, 5 hexes away from some target, and all of your weapons are considered at range 5 if they're in range. All right, so if you got a bunch of medium lasers set at range 9, this guy's a little closer, so at range 5, so your medium range. So now you're medium range with your medium lasers. If you're sitting with a PPC, so you got an ER PPC, and you're sitting out there at 18 or 19, or even a large laser, and your wolf trap is, say, at range 5, you get to shoot at range 5, unless they have ECM, which will shut it down. if your mech is within the bubble of the ECM. Now, if you're outside the bubble, you're just going still by the shortest range of the network. So that's a great system. I do like the idea of the C version, which is the command and control type thing. And it basically turns it into a really good spotter. Now, I, on the other hand, looked at that version and did some tweaking on it. And what did I do was change that one out. Was take the C version and let's see if I can pull it up here. If I find it. Okay. I took the C and did one thing. I got rid of the LBX-10 and put on an ERPPC, double heat sinks. So basically I made one that's a 690 still, did put on jump jets, even though it could put some jump jets on this thing. I kept the C3 on there. I put a Guardian ECM on there. Downgraded the LBX-10 for an ERPPC. That freed up all the tons where I can do all these wonderful little things. And I changed out and added added two more medium lasers, upgraded the armor to 152. Yeah, 152. So now you're looking at something similar to a Shadowhawk. So it can go toe-to-toe a little bit better. And then I added one more heat sink. So I got 11 double heat sinks. And I did two things. I either tweaked the and changed the LRM-10 out for a Streak 6. You're like, a Streak 6? Yeah, because heck, why not? If you're trying to get the whole concept of this thing is that you want to get it in closer towards your target, and then with a streak, you're going to be able to fight off everything. And then with more armor, you're now considered an infighter type mech. Plus, you got a PPC for shooting out a good distance from direct fire. And you want to be close enough so you got direct line of sight, so you're able to use yourself as the spotter for the rest of the network. And since I want this guy to get up close and personal in somebody's face, so I can use him as the ability to fight better and spot and get in close, I wanted more armor on him. That's why I dumped the LBX in favor of PPC. And that turned this thing into a nasty little mech up close. And it still has some teeth out a good distance for direct fire. And, yeah, why not? I still like the idea of being able to do cluster hits on a target. You know, that's why I went with the Streak 6 instead of the LRM-10, because I want something still that has the possibility of doing crit hunting. All right, that's the whole reason I changed that out from the LRM-10 to the Streak 6. Because if you do hit, if it locks, it fires, all 6 are going to hit. All right, that's why I did that. So that's the thought process going through my head at the time when I made it. And that's one I've used many times in that derivation. Still has the XL engines, so that is sort of a problem with it, but hey, you know, that's, you know, you got to deal with what you got to deal with. All right. Now, I have kicked around, and I call that the Delta version. You know, just as you got the Charlie, Delta. And there was one that one time I just kind of played with, I tried once, which is keeps the, and I think I did mention it has ECM on board too. Take the same version, and what I did with it is kept 10 double heat sinks. This is what I call the Echo version. Has a C3, has ECM, downgraded the LBX to a ERPPC, and then has 4 medium lasers, ECM, C3, and then I gave it, I think this one is, yeah, this has ferro and Indo still. So I put ferro fibers on it. It already has Indo from the factory, so I just put on ferro fibers. And that's where, and I dumped the streak off of it. So now it just has energy weapons. I got rid of it doesn't no longer have the case on it. So you know, you don't have to worry about any type of ammo explosion. So it does the same job as the other one, but I don't have to worry about it blowing up. But it doesn't have that crit hunting capability that I had on this with the Streak. So yeah, it's one of those deals where you you give and take. But you know, I like the idea of oh, and a whole other thing with this one, I got rid of the XL engine. So this one has a standard. So this one can turn into a zombie mech. All right, so that was one of the reasons the Streak disappeared, because I just put standard fusion engine on it. You know, sometimes you just gotta look at a design and just like, what can I do to make it possibly better? You know, so that's kind of like what I did. So thoughts and processes right there. Now, other than that, that's pretty much the Wolf Trap in a basic design. You know, some ideas of what to do with it to change it, using existing variants of it. There is a couple, you know, the Blake list that it's kind of like a little more advanced looking designs down the road, where they change out the LBX-10 for plasma rifles. So yeah, there's, you know, other ones down the road that could work too. So that's pretty much the Wolf Trap in a nutshell. Use it as a kind of a harassment scout. It's kind of a heavy light lance scout leader. Medium lance can be tossed in there. It's a little bit fast mover. Can be thrown in with some dragons that have some good movement, Shadowhawks, etc. And it's a crit hunter. You know, with the LBX cannon on that thing, that's, like I said, that's how I like to use it, is that when you get to that point where you're going to be blasting somebody and you got the armor off of them, hit them with the cluster rounds and try to take out those potential hits into the ammo bays. But other than that, the only thing I could say that it might need, if you decide to change it, is throw on some jump jets, possibly. So if it was a 696, if you did downgrade the LBX to a PPC or ER large laser, and then throw the tonnage into jump jets, that would make it a pretty good mech too. It could get around and throw some armor on the darn thing. It needs it. So there you go. That's some thoughts on the Wolf Trap. Hope you like and subscribe. Share with all your friends. We will talk with you later. Al Craigs out.